coming together in faith, working together in service. Over the past 50 years, Dorcas Ministries has provided compassionate assistance, critical services, and crisis relief for residents of Cary and Morrisville. With the help of dedicated volunteers, professional staff, and community collaborators, Dorcas Ministries continues its mission to help neighbors in need.
Dorcas Ministries' mission is serving the community, as we have done for over 50 years.
We serve about 2,000 people a month, and that sounds like a big number, but it's really balanced between folks who access our crisis programs, that would be crisis financial assistance with necessary bills, the food pantry, and then programs that help people become more stable and self-sufficient.
So we do utility bills, we pay medical bills, we pay for car repairs, for transportation. We spend a lot of money on child care.
Training programs, job coaching, scholarship programs, all of those services that help people increase their earning potential.
Most recently, 2 years ago, we started an emergency housing program.
The primary focus is always the client's dignity. We want to respect the skills and talents that they have, build on those, and put in place supports that they know that they need to get back on their feet.
Dorcas was started in 1968 by a visionary out of First United Methodist Church, Miss Margaret Keller. Idea seems simple. A bunch of churches working together can do more than each church working alone.
Well, of course, in those days, it was Christian Community in Action. That was a mouthful, especially if you answered the telephone.
Our first mission was kindergarten, a preschool, which was mostly for minorities. Back in 1968, if you were not affluent, your kid didn't go to kindergarten, which means they started behind the 8 ball.
There were 3 of us. Margaret Keller looked at me and said, "You're going to have a 4-year kindergarten in your home next year." And I said, "I am," and I did. We just got in our cars and went out, and wherever we saw toys in the yard or children's clothes on the clothesline, we stopped.
This is where it all started for me. Miss Catherine Parrish and the Dorcas Ministry. She said that she saw something special in me. So she would pick me up and take me to Greenwood Forest Baptist Preschool, and that was 74. And in spite of the resistance, she just had it made up in her mind that I was going, and that was it. And I remember being there the first day and going home and being upset, not because the children were mean to me, but I was the only black child, and it was out of my comfort zone. But my grandmother and my mother, they told me, "You have to go back."
These mostly black mothers and grandmothers turned their children over to us and let them bring us here to our 4-year-old program. It was kind of wonderful that they had so much. Of course, the Lord was behind all this, but they had so much faith in us. They put their children in the car.
I have to go back to this organization and Miss Catherine Parrish. It has had a lasting effect on my life. It just has, and I'm so grateful.
In the very early years of the ministry, we had a clothing closet, and the women that ran it were so forward-thinking and so focused on dignity that they knew that they shouldn't just give away the clothes in the clothing closet, that they should ask people in need to give just a little bit, a penny or a nickel, so that they felt that they weren't being given a handout.
I guess it began with Margaret's dream, because she said the reason we want to do this shop and name it for the lady in the Bible, she said we need to give these mothers the dignity of shopping for their children.
It is our will that when somebody comes into the Dorcas shop door, it is the desire of my heart, Lord, that they will know that they're in the house of God, that the workers there will have so much Christ in them that when people come in, they know it. And that we look at everybody who comes in as God looks at them.
when people give me a hug and say, God bless you, that, you know, that's a big day's pay for me.
From that foundation, we built on all of our programs so that dignity is the most important aspect of a program, and allowing people opportunities to increase their knowledge, their training, with a focus on getting back on their feet.
This is Dorcas' 7th location, and each time it's moved, it's gotten bigger and better. From an upstairs apartment over Ashford Scruggs in downtown Cary to our current location now, which we have about 30,000 square feet for Dorcas alone, and another 30,000 square feet that we rent out for other nonprofits to try to consolidate services and make them more accessible.
Dorcas Ministries is life-changing, of course, for the people whom we serve, but it's life-changing for the volunteers as well.
There's always just so much more blessing. Anytime you help somebody, then you get such joy.
We could not do the work we do without the support of so many volunteers.
We're one of the few agencies that even our clients are serviced and outreach by volunteers.
When a client comes through and receives services, counseling, training, coaching, they're engaging entirely with volunteers.
We have many Dorcas volunteers here who consider this as their family. And it actually becomes a community. There's a Monday group, there's a Tuesday group, there's a Wednesday group, the Thursday group, and it just goes on and on.
We have volunteers here who are in their second and third generations because it's been that important.
It's a great place to work. There, you know, we've got wonderful people to work with in the outreach part of what we do, in the shop, in the pantry. It's a fun place to work.
That little room of 6 or 7 women has turned into 500 volunteers with a thrift shop that is known throughout the community and beyond.
That is the secret to the South for Dorcas Ministries. Because of our Dorcas thrift shop and the great community support that we get, we're able to generate 75 to 80% of our own funds. That allows us not to misuse funds, but to appropriate the funds where they are actually needed, whereas we do get some government funding, mostly from the town of Cary and Wake County, but most of our funding does not have a whole lot of red tape, a whole lot of strings attached to it. So we're able to be flexible and nimble as far as responding to the needs of our clients because of the thrift shop. Our first food pantry, believe it or not, was a file cabinet with baby food. Today we have a model of a food pantry that is replicated.
Our food pantry is set up like a grocery store. We want to give the clients an opportunity to shop just like they would in the grocery store, and not to feel bad about the fact that they're in need of food. People come in, they get a grocery cart, and they shop just like they would at any area grocery store. And we are, thanks to so many donations, we're able to provide milk, eggs, frozen meat, produce, most everything that you would find at Food Lion or Kroger. We are the largest food pantry in the area, so our partner agencies feel really comfortable sending us donations and then encouraging anyone they know in need to come to us to shop. People think of Cary as a very affluent community, and the poverty here is really hidden. There is an 8% poverty rate, which sounds low, but when you think about a population base of over 200,000 people, it's a lot of people in need. And poverty in Cary really is the struggle of the working poor.
Our typical client can be a person that may have run into a financial bind due to unexpected medical expense, or more recently, we see clients who, because of our economic climate that is so good in this area, actually suffer, the least of those among us. A good example, I think, is the real estate market. It's not unusual for a client to come to Cary and say, my rent was $900 last month, but all of a sudden I got a notice from my landlord that it's going up $200. And of course my employer has not given me a $200 a month raise, so I'm forced now with making decisions between paying my rent, buying food, or paying medical bills.
A very common scenario that we see is a family where they're working at a low-wage job. Oftentimes they're working several part-time low-wage jobs, and they lose one of those jobs. So they may be just able to scrape by, living paycheck to paycheck, and then their hours are cut at McDonald's, or the restaurant they're working for goes out of business. And so it may take them a couple of weeks to find something, and then a couple more weeks to get that first paycheck. And it's in that short time frame that they find themselves with an electric bill that they can't pay, and no way to explain to their children that the lights may be cut off the next day.
Basically, a tree fell on my house last year, and to have a tree fall on your house, although we weren't there, was traumatizing. Actually, we had just moved down to North Carolina, my children and I think it was like our 3rd month here, and then all of a sudden the tree falls. So I started doing my own calling research. That's when I got in touch with the people at Dorcas Ministries, and from that point they helped me move into the house that I'm currently in now. They helped me pay the rent for that. They also helped me with some of the hotel costs, which was a big blessing and help. Overall, my caseworker was awesome. So, I mean, we had a ton of conversations, and I cried to her a couple of times, and she felt my stress. So it was kind of like I adopted a new friend for a while. She just needed me to give her a few pieces of paper. I gave her everything she needed, and she was just like, all right, let me push it through. We'll get you going. And the help was almost immediate, the way it felt. It may not have been, but it felt immediate. So I am pro Dorcas. It was amazing. They definitely made sure that every single person in my family was taken care of. And I'm a single mom of 4 little girls. Just to have that when you need it, when you really need it the most, is amazing.
Helping neighbors, providing assistance, ensuring that those in our community have food, clothing, shelter, job training, a chance for a better tomorrow. Dorcas Ministries is committed to carrying on this important mission for another 50 years.
I am so excited about our future, and the future is very bright here.
I think the next 50 years sees Dorcas as continuing to be a very key player in the life of this community.
We see ourselves building on our training programs, apprenticeships, entrepreneur training, and all of those programs that connect people deeper in the community, help them network and build their earning potential so that they don't need to ever come back for food assistance or financial assistance.
The precise details about where we go, well, it depends on people like you who are in the room today. What kind of response will you make? A friend of mine has long told the story. Some of you may have even heard it already. A man's walking on the beach and he sees some starfish there by the beach, and he picks one up and he throws it back into the water. Someone, seeing all the other starfish, say, well, why did you bother? What difference does it make? And my friend said, well, it made a difference in that starfish. That's how Dorcas Ministries has done this too. As many of you here this morning recognize, they're working one person at a time. Change happens for the better.
Coming together in faith, working together in service, helping people in crisis become stable and self-sufficient. That's why they continue to be the charity of choice for Western Wake County.
And if the Lord seems to be putting on your heart that you have a calling to go in there and be a clerk, or going through the clothes, or a cashier, or just someone to talk to the people when they come in, or somebody in the volunteer office where we interview folks before we help them with financial assistance. If the Lord is putting this on your heart, will you let me know? God bless every one of you.